It's started.
Okay. All right, guys. So today we're going to be practicing how to cut potatoes into bâtonnet, macédoine, large dice, and it's medium dice. So I just have a regular russet potato that I've already washed, and I've already washed my hands. I have my clean apron on. My station is all set up. So the most important part of this is how our station is set up. I have a clean rag to clean up any mess. I have my containers where my scraps, my bâtonnet, my julienne, and my dice are gonna go. So Haley, if you could go fill that up with water, that would be so great. Thank you so much. And the important part of having the potato being cut in water is it's actually gonna stop the potato from oxidizing. And the best way that we're gonna learn how to do our knife cuts is actually on russet potatoes. I don't really like doing them on carrots. I like doing them on potatoes because you get more portion out of what you're peeling and cutting. So as you see, I have my 8-inch chef knife, my potato peeler, my cutting board, which has been stabilized with a wet rag so it doesn't shake when I cut. Thank you. And now my station is all set up. So I'm actually going to be using a paper towel to peel my potato because it just keeps up with easy cleanup. And when you actually see the potato starting to turn green, it's actually a poison, or it just proves that the potato is going bad, and it causes like a bitter taste. This is one of the best peelers because it has the best handle on it. You always want to make sure you're either peeling away from it or you have a good grip on your peeler because you can actually slip and nick your nail. I've done that multiple times. Okay, my potatoes all peeled. I just take my scraps, roll them up. This is all compostable. Pop it in there. Okay, with my knife, how we hold a knife is make sure it's secure. Every time we hold a knife, it needs to be an extension of our arm. I pinch my blade and wrap my fingers tight around it. That means I have it really choked up. Some people don't have to do this. I also have a smaller hand, so that means I use a narrower handle. Okay? So starting here, we're gonna actually square off the potato. So that means removing the ends, and this is gonna go into our scrap bin. Removing our ends and squaring it off, creating flat edges. I would never suggest starting your knife cuts without flat edges. Taking our scraps, we want to use these for later, or they can be composted for something else. Now we have a semi-square potato, okay? So for this, I'm going to do 4 different knife cuts. I'm going to do julienne. So starting there, I'm going to actually create a very thin plank. So I have thin planks like this. Julienne is going to be like, when you see a julienne, it's going to be like your fine shredded carrots. And bâtonnets are going to be french fries. Okay, so my bâtonnet, I'm going to start here. I can actually shave this one off and make a julienne out of it. And whenever you are cutting potatoes, an awesome thing about these steel knives is that something usually sticks to it and you can use that size as a guide. So from these, I'm going to create my julienne. So whenever I cut something, whenever I even start about cutting, I always want to make sure I have the claw. Okay, that's going to reiterate the safety with my fingertips. So the claw is going to look like this. They call it the bear claw. It's just whatever. You can do the Toy Story. Ooh, the claw. So every time I do it, I always want to make sure that my flat side of my knife hits the flat part of my knuckles. Okay? This is actually going to help me guide and watch what I'm doing. Okay, so now I've got some julienne potatoes. See, these are going to be like matchsticks. They're not going to be very thin. And the best way to check to see if you're organized is to hold it like this and make sure that all the bottoms are looking the same. So they look generally the same. Some are a little bit smaller, but that's because of me taking less time. If you take more time, you keep working on it, it just gets better. So I'm going to put some of my matchsticks into my water and save those for later. These are really good fried up and crispy as like a garnish. Okay, this is where a clean towel comes in handy. Okay, so from this, I'm going to do the same thing and just do dices. As as you can see, I'm rocking my knife back and forth on the cutting board and keeping it on the cutting board. So the tip of the knife never leaves my cutting board, and I'm not really moving my arm more than in a small motion. So now I have my Brunel's dice. Zoom in on it. I have my Brunel's dice right here, keeping it small. Okay, so from these size planks, I'm gonna make my bâtonnets. So bâtonnets were really known as like the French fry potato. That's the best way that I can really describe it to you, is it makes French fries. So when we think French fries, you know, we don't think small. This is a great size for a French fry, a great size. If you ever go to France and you order steak frites, you'll get more square French fries, whereas Americans see the long, skinny French fries, or we use like steak fries. So from this, I'm gonna put my 2 French fries in there. That's a snack for later. And from here, I'm gonna make even dice. Okay. Again, the more even you are with how much you're moving your arm or how you're guiding it, the more even your cuts will be. So this is what I like to call Macédoine. Some people will call it medium dice. I call it Macédoine. So those are gonna just go straight in there. All that. I never like to use my blade on a cutting board because I don't want to dull out my blade, especially with knife safety. A dull blade always leads to more cuts. So from this, we would take it and we would wash it separately with these 2 because these are both technically blades. So Haley, I'm going to hand that off to you. Thank you. Fold up our rag. The great thing about a wet rag is you can always dip it in sanitizer, and from there just clean up your station like this. Okay? And then when we're walking with a knife, we always want to make sure our knife is also steady in our hand, pointed down on our hips, pointed down our leg, and you don't move it. So if you swing with your arms, if you walk like this, okay, you're not going to want to hold the knife in your hand. You want to make sure that's steady, and when you walk with a knife, what do you say? Sharp. Sharp. Good job. Okay? So Haley, you never pass a knife. Haley, I'm going to hand you the knife, and you're going to walk it over. And what are you going to say? Short. Thank you. All right, and we'll do the peeler the same way. And from that, we can actually do whatever work we need to get done. So this is really important. The best chefs have the best knife cuts. They spend a lot of time, they work on them, and especially if you're making small dishes that need to focus. So again, we soak them in water. We can use them the next day, or we can use them for later on. We just don't want them oxidizing and losing the ability to be crispy. All right, guys, thanks so much. We're gonna make some French fries or some potato hash later, and work on our knife cuts.